What's going on, boys and girls? My name is Meikyuu SK and welcome back to the Labyrinth of Grisaia. So in the last episode we got to learn a little bit more about JB and Asako. I believe that's how you pronounce their name. I was having a little bit of an issue with that in the last episode, but we learned that they actually grew up in an orphanage together. They pretty much went through life together, from what I understand, and now Asako is adopting Yuji. Yuji is a mess of a person right now, but at least he's not in the hands of whatever his name is. I can't remember. I remembered all of his aliases in the last episode, and now I don't remember any of them. Or at least his current one. His actual one that he uses now. Kazami Yuuji was sitting halfway up in bed. We're speaking on behalf of JB here. At least I believe. His back against a pillow, an IV connected to his arm. His face was frozen and blank, completely devoid of emotion. He wasn't doing anything other than drawing breath. The boy was, in other words, the very picture of an invalid. At the time of his rescue from Oslo's nest, Yuji's mind had been clouded by an extreme vitamin deficiency. He didn't even remember being rescued by Asako. At a glance, I saw that the crooks of his elbows were full of holes where the IV had been inserted. So many needles had been poked into the backs of his hands and feet that their skin was bruised and black. According to the nurse who'd been in charge of him, he wasn't even trying to eat, and when they forced him, he'd vomit or develop diarrhea. There had been no choice but to rely on IV feeding and constant medication. Kazami Yuuji was thoroughly convinced he had beaten his own father to death, and that his mother had died because of him. Even quickly looking over the papers, it was obvious he'd gone through more than any child his age was equipped to endure. Well, duh. Probably not.
Oi,
40 seconds? What the fuck?
そんな言い方どうした耳が聞こえないのか返事を
What the fuck, dude?
ちょっと殴らないでんなんでだどうせ誰もいらんガキだろなら拾った私のもんだ捨てる神あれば拾う神ありってなおいユージこっち見ろボケ私を見るんだ
What are all these angry women doing in my hospital room? That's basically like how I would see him like interpreting the situation, if he interpreted it at all. Which I don't think he is.
いいか私がお前を拾う神神様だ分かったか
Okay. Nope. Still not getting it.
返事ぐらいしろよな
Shit!
てめえ
Damn.
殴りながら言わないでっていうかポンポン叩かないでおもちゃじゃないのよどうしてもっと優しくできないのバカかお前この手のガキってのは優しくされることに慣れてね自分は優しくされるだけの価値がある人間だと思っちゃいないから逆に優しくされると敵だと思う下手に優しくされてもどう対処していいかわからねえんだよだったらゴミくず扱いされた方が従いやすいってもんだそうだろ少なくとも私はそうだったいいかユージ所詮この世はクソダメだ救いなんかない特にお前のようなウジ虫に手を差し伸べる奴はいない
Well, semi-correct there.
善人ぶって近づいてくるやつほどやべえってのはお前自身が嫌ってほど知ってるはずだ
I just noticed that she's got a patch that says Air Force. Who do these people, like, what is their organization? I don't get that. I feel like I'm missing something. I just don't understand what they're, like, who they're working for. Do they work for America? Are they working in Japan? They're obviously not working with Ichigaya yet. Or at all. Or are they? I don't know.
私はお前に優しくなんかしない お前が一体何の役に立つのだろうとか、何のために生まれてきたのだろうとか、そして何のために今もまだこうして生きているのだろうとか、全部どうでもいい。くだらねえ。ガキがそんなものを考えたところで答えなんざ出るわけがねえ。それは私が適当に決めてやる。お前はただ分かったと神である私についてくりゃいいんだ。分かったか？
Capiche?
ああ、くそめんどくせえ。いいから来い。お前はもう私のもんだ。逆らうな。
I don't think he's gonna give any sort of lip. I'm pretty sure Asako is trying to tell the boy to start moving forward instead of worrying endlessly, but her somewhat forcible approach just seemed to push Kazami Yuuji even further into his shell. The boy wouldn't even react, even when she thumped him or cursed at him. Losing her temper, she practically dragged him out of his hospital bed and took him straight back to her home. Although calling it a home might be slightly misleading, to put it mildly, Asako wasn't a fan of crowds. At the time, she was living in a forester's hut inside a national forest in Yamanashi Prefecture. It's a good thing we went down Makina's route, because we actually got to learn about Asako and this little place here, which is kind of cool.
さーて、連れ帰ったはいいものの。
I hope I didn't say we went down Makina's route. It's more like I did. It's pretty much up to me to do these routes now. Maybe. I don't know.
何も考えてなかったのね。やっぱり。あ、つかなんでお前までついてきてんだよ。自分のマンションに帰れよ。あなたとこの子を二人きりにしておくのが心配だからでしょうが。ふざけろ。ガキじゃあるめえし、こんな子供にレイプされるほど弱かねえっつの。あんたのこと心配してるんじゃないわよ。ねえ、そこは理解して。
Man, JB's always complaining. Doesn't matter how old she is, always complaining, man.
よし、まずは風呂だな。人の話全然聞いてないし。っていうか、なんでお風呂？いや、こいつろくに風呂にも入ってねえんだろう。野良犬みてえな匂いすんだよ。嗅いでみ。
He was in a hospital just now.
どれ？うわ、ほんと、なんか臭い。
Man, I didn't know people actually made an actual audible noise when they sniffed. I don't know if you guys heard that. That was stupid.
つうわけで風呂だ。私がこいつ洗ってる間に、お前ちょっとこいつの服買ってきてくれ。
I have a very bad feeling of what direction this may be going in.
え、ちょっと、まさか一緒に入るつもり？
Very bad feeling.
こんな状態で一人で入れるわけねえだろ。何か問題が？それは、なんていうか、変な気は起こさないでよ。
He's still a child. And we remember that, alright?
はあ？何言ってんだお前。いいから行ってこいよ。金は私の財布持っていけ。うん。よーし、ユージ風呂入るぞ。ほら、万歳しろ。万歳。
Bonsai? Is that supposed to be like a stance or something?
なんだお前。ガリガリでカリンコリンの体しやがって。飯食わねえからだ。
Man, I'm always being told that I'm all skin and bones. It's kind of dumb, man. And I am eating. This is stupid. I hate that shit. I hate it when people say like, oh, you're all skin and bones. I guess it makes sense if someone wasn't actually eating and they look like an actual skeleton. Like you can actually see their bones like pressing up against their skin and everything. It's like really visible. But man, just for a thin person like me or just a lot of people out there, don't use that shit. It's messed up.
あ、おい JB、 ついでに飯も買ってきてくれよ。コンビニ飯でいいから。おい、聞いてんのか？じゃねえよ。飯も買ってきてくれって言ってんだろ。 あ、飯ね。コンビニでいい？
What's wrong with her?
だからそう言っただろうが、ガキの裸に見とれてボケっとしてんなよ。
I mean, that seems to be the issue here.
別にそういうわけじゃ。いいから行ってこいって。飯は3人分、酒は2人分だ。
Oh, hell yeah.
私は飲まないわよ。今日車だし。私が2人分飲むんだよ。
What the fuck?
あ、そう。こいつの服買ってくんの忘れんなよ。わかってるわよ。
Honestly, if it wasn't as if I'd been staring at the boy's slender body itself, I'd just been startled by the fact that it was absolutely covered in scars. Kazami Yuuji's skin was mottled with deep bruises that seemed to indicate long years of physical abuse. A number of jagged red lines testified to wounds that had been roughly stitched shut. It was a painfully pitiful sight. Not to mention, when Asako forcibly pulled off his clothes, he hadn't resisted in the slightest. It seemed like something he was very much used to. That blank look on his face was probably a self-defense mechanism. When you don't allow yourself to feel any emotions, nothing can really hurt you. It wasn't the kind of coping method you might have expected from a traumatized veteran of countless wars. In that respect, maybe someone like Asako really was the only one capable of understanding this boy. What the fuck?
遅かったじゃないか。どこまで買いに行ってたんだお前。
God damn it, dude. Don't scare me like that. And don't scare her like that.
ああ、買い物袋を落とすなよ。ビールが泡立っちまうじゃねえか。
When I returned from my shopping trip, I found Asako behaving in a typically disgraceful fashion, and Kazami Yuuji completely transformed.
ねえ、朝子。まず質問なんだけど、あなた、なんて格好してるのよ。
I have a very bad feeling about this.
あ？風呂に入ったんだから、裸なのは当たり前だろうが。
Oh, okay. We're good then.
いや、さ、子供いるし、男の子だし、隠そうよ。人として、いえ、女として。今更だろ？というか、私と話しているときは、私の方を見ろよ。
Calling her out.
何？この子。何って、風見雄二だろうが。着るもんがなかったから、とりあえず私のシャツを着せてみた。
The boy was naked except for a single oversized t-shirt that fell almost to his knees. Through the gaping neck hole of that ragged old shirt, his slender shoulders and well-defined collarbones were clearly visible. And his eyes, peering out from between excessively long bangs, seemed listless and sleepy. It was all disturbingly sensual.
美少年だったのね。なんだって？いや、なんか汚い子だったのに、随分と綺麗になったなと思って。だろ？いや、参ったぜ。シャンプーを頭にぶっかけて洗っても、どんどん泡が消えてくしよ。体を洗ってやりゃ、日焼けの皮みてえに赤がボロボロ剥がれ落ちるし、ほばどんだけ汚えんだよってマジでビビったぜ。とりあえず野良犬みたいな匂いが消えるまで3回ぐらい洗ったかな。最後は頭にきてデッキブラシで洗った。ひどいことするわね。痛くなかったの？
I was gonna say nothing that he isn't used to, but that's kind of fucked.
痛みには慣れてるってよ。え？そいつ声が小せんだ。耳近づけてよく聞いてみ。ユージ、もう一度だ。
Oh, she wasn't done talking. I'm used to pain.
喋った！
His voice was so faint that I could barely make it out at all. It almost seemed like he was afraid of something. My ear was inches from his mouth and the words were still almost inaudible. But even so, this was the first time I'd heard Kazami Yuuji say anything other than yes, no, I don't know, or I don't remember.
そりゃ喋るさ。そんなことより飯にしよう。腹が減った。
The two of us quickly got dinner ready. Of course, Asako had been living alone for a long time now, and she wasn't particularly interested in what she ate. As far as I knew, she almost never cooked for herself. Just from looking around the cabin, it was clear that hadn't changed. Plastic garbage bags were scattered everywhere, packed with empty shells of convenience store meals. For the time being, I put one of the pre-made meals I purchased on a plate and placed it in front of Kazami Yuuji, but he didn't react to the food.
どうした？気に入らないのか？
Asako spoke to the boy in between huge bites of her own meal. There was no immediate response. Just then, a single fly appeared and began buzzing around the three of us, evidently attracted by the smell of our food.
もう食事の食べかすを放置するからハエが来るのよ。たまには部屋を掃除しなさいよ。もう。うるせえな。山ん中の小屋なんだから虫ぐらいいくらだっているさ。ハエの一匹ぐらい気にすんなよ。
I mean, she kind of makes a point. Having completed a lap around our heads, the fly landed on top of the table. Kazami Yuuji glanced down at the insect, his eyes as listless as ever, then lashed out with his hand, smashing it.
Huh?
Asako raised her eyebrow at the boy's unexpectedly impressive reflexes, but a moment later, we had something else to be surprised about. His hand still frozen on top of the fly, Kazami Yuuji had begun to tremble like a leaf in the wind. Turning over his palm, he looked down at the still twitching remains of the insect, and began to scream hysterically. Oh shit. Sorry, I can't yell, it's nighttime, and I refuse to yell at any time. Crushing the fly had most likely triggered a flashback of some sort, perhaps to the moment when he killed his father. Pressing his hands to his mouth, the boy began to retch loudly. Oh shit.
ちょっと大丈夫？余計なもん思い出したみてえだな。
As his all but empty stomach twisted itself violently, Kazami Yuuji repeatedly spat gastric juice out of his mouth. That's fucking terrifying. The burning pain in his throat left him hacking and wheezing, tears streaming down his cheeks. He whispered a light litany of apologies. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
ただでさえ汚え部屋にヘドを撒き散らすんじゃねえよ。たく。
At least she admits it.
あさこ。わかってるよ。おいユージ、お前ちょっとこっち来い。どこへ連れて行く気？トイレだよ。このままここでゲーゲー続けられたら叶わないからな。
Again, another good point.
大丈夫なの？いいから任せておけ。お前はそこ片付けておいてくれ。わかった。
Kazami Yuuji's reaction to his murder of a living thing was disproportionately extreme. It took quite a while for Asako to calm the boy down after the incident. Eventually, she did manage to push him into bed and put him to sleep.
なんとも面倒なやつを引き取っちまったもんだな。面倒なのは最初から分かっていたはずでしょ。今さら何を言ってるのよ。
Again, I keep skipping just a little bit there with the voice lines. I'm sorry. By the time we'd gotten Kazami Yuuji in bed and cleaned up the mess, Asako and I weren't exactly in the mood to finish our meals. Instead, we started in on the beer I'd brought back with me. Wow.
ああ、飲んじまったよ。お前今日は車だろ？
Hey man, YOLO, right?
もういいわ。今日はここに泊まる。ベッドは一つしかねえぞ。いい。私はソファーで寝るから。ユージを真ん中に挟んで3人で寝るか？ダブルサイズだから寝れないことはない。
Damn, dude.
そんなことよりどうするの？どうするとは？風見ユージのことよ。あの子、私たちが思っているよりずっと重症よ。そんなこと知ってるよ。あなたがあの子の何を知ってるっていうのよ。あいつの体見たか？ああ、そういうこと？風呂場であいつを洗いながら気づいただけでも銃創が2箇所、刃物で刺されてえぐられたような箇所が1つ。
Holy fuck, dude. Like when I was reading that, I could just feel my facial expression. I was kind of shocked when I read that one.
骨折の治療をしたと思われる縫合口が2箇所。細かい傷跡やあざを数えたらキリがない。ありゃ単純に親に殴られてできた傷じゃないな。オスロに拾われた後にできた傷だろう。それと先端恐怖症だ。指刺されただけで顔を背ける。オスロのところでヤバい仕事をやるたびに、うちの会社でいうところのブースタードラッグ的なものをぶち込まれたんだろうな。瞳孔が開いちまって戻らないから、強い光や尖ったものに過剰反応する。オスロのネストであいつが薄暗い地下室に閉じ込められてたのは、眩しいのを嫌がるからだ。
That's just terrible, man.
体を拘束されていたのは幻覚に怯えて暴れるからだろうな。薬が決まってる時はいいさ。何も怖くないし、何でもやれる気がする。だが薬が飛べばその分の恐怖が一気に襲ってくる。決めれば決めるほどそのリバウンドもでかくなる。食事に拒否反応を示すのもそれが原因？その辺には個人差がある。おそらくは過去の経験の影響だろうな。あいつは両親の死体を見てるのが良くないんだろうな。豪華なステーキを見ても生き物の死骸を焼いたものにしか見えないんじゃねえか。そんな精神的な障害の延長で食い物を拒否しているとしか思えない。でもこのまま放っておけば衰弱死するだけよ。
Yeah, the throwing up is already bad enough. Like, when you're throwing up and you don't have any food in your system, it's going to destroy you.
分かってるよ。様子を見ながら少しずつ物を食うってことに慣れさせるしかない。
Or maybe bring him back to the hospital.
食事を拒み続けるとやがて脳は食欲を沈黙させる。急に栄養を与えられても体がそれを消化吸収できるだけの体力がない。物を食うにも体力が必要なんだ。そこまで行くともう食い物の味がわからなくなる。塩を舐めても甘く感じるほどバカになるし、固形物は消化できない。病院で点滴を与えられていたのはそういう理由だ。心も体もボロボロね。いっそ殺してやった方があいつにとっては楽なんだけどな。
Fuck, dude.
だがたとえあいつがそれを望んでも私がそれを許さない。子供にとっては親が神よ。それあなたちゃんと分かって言ってるの？
Wow, JB, but they don't exist.
分かってるよ。皆まで言わせるなよ、恥ずかしい。
After that, I don't even know what that is. First day, I made an effort to stop by Asako's cabin and check in on Kazami Yuuji's condition whenever I had a spare moment.
食え！吐いてでも食え！今日は食うまで許さねえぞ！食いやがれ！
Well, things seem to be great. Please, just stop already.
食わなきゃ死んじまうんだぞ！
That's fine by me.
てめえ、甘ったれたこと抜かしてんじゃねえ！ぶっ殺すぞ！食わなきゃ死ぬとか言っておいて、食わなきゃ殺すってどういうことよ。
I was gonna say, she's kind of like going back on what she just said.
なんだ JB、 来てたんなら声ぐらいかけろよ。いつ来やがったんだ？つい今しがたよ。それより朝子、いい加減にしなさいよ。あなたの怒鳴り声、小屋の外まで聞こえてたわよ。だからなんだ、こんな山小屋で近所迷惑もクソもあるか。いいから食えよユージ。食わなきゃもう一緒に風呂入ってやんねえぞ。
What the fuck? Help me, JB. God damn it.
てめえこらユージ、男に免疫のねえもっさり金髪女に甘えた声出して助けてもらおうとしてんじゃねえぞ。あのさ、朝子、 ユージを罵倒するふりをして私をけなすのをやめてもらっていいかな。それにユージ、あなたもよ。あなたのことを思えばこそ朝子はあなたに辛く当たっているの。それは分かってほしい。
God damn it. In response to these words, Kazami Yuuji let out a small sigh and shook his head. You don't understand a thing, JB.
そりゃ、あなたの負った過去の傷はあなたにしか理解できないかもしれない。でも私たちだって私たちなりに必死にあなたを理解しようとしているのよ。
Yes, regardless of how shitty the attempts are. In that case, how about you try some of this first as an example?
どれ？これ？何これ？
見ればわかるだろうが。私が作った特製のおじやだ。
何これ？おじやって何よ？どこの国の民族料理なの？
A little bit of a weird noise.
日本の家庭料理だ。消化が良くてすぐにエネルギーに変わるジャパニーズパワーフードだよ。
なんか漢方薬みたいな匂いがするのはなぜ？
そりゃあれだ。体に良さそうなもんを適当にぶち込んだからだ。確かに匂いはあれかもしれないが栄養はバッチリだ。男なら立ちっぱなし、女なら濡れっぱなしだ。
Okay.
この鍋のど真ん中にボテッと乗っているモザイクなしでは語れない物体は何？
ああ、そりゃおめ鹿のチッポだ。たっけんだぞそれ。
What? Wow.
てめえなんで捨てんだよ。せっかくの私の手料理を。ふざけんな。
ユージごめんなさい。私が間違ってた。こんなもの絶対に食べちゃダメよ。これは毒よ。食べたら死んじゃうんだから。
Dear cock.
しっけえだなお前。別に食えないもんは一つも入れてねえぞ。そういう問
題じゃないでしょ。というかそれ以前の問題よ。しまった。忘れてた。あなたってばびっくりするぐらい料理が下手だったのよね。それはあなたにも自覚はあるだろうし、食事は民生の加工食品で済ませるとばかり思って油断していたわ。
ひどい言われようだな。そこまで言うほどまずくはなかろうに。
You were trying to feed him a cock.
だったらあなたが食べなさいな。ほら。
うわっ、くっせ。鹿のチップを顔に近づけんなよ。
God damn it.
うわっ。
自分が食べられないものを子供に食べさせようとするな。
平気だ。カレー粉さえあれば大抵のものは食える。
じゃあ食え。チップ食いなさいよ。ほら。
What the fuck, dude?
いや、私は元気だから食わなくていいんだよ。
Coming up with these excuses.
こんなものを食べさせられたら逆に具合が悪くなるわよ。
In the end, I took over for Asako and prepared an alternative meal. The menu wasn't anything special. I just whipped together a simple rice-based porridge. Since Yuji had been refusing solid food for quite some time, I was careful to keep it very thin. Practically rice water, in fact.
ほら、ユージ、熱くないからあーんってしてごらんなさい。
甘やかすな。粥ぐらい自分で食わせろ。
うるさいわね。あなたは鹿のチップ汁鍋でも食べてなさいよ。
Oh my god, dude.
高級食材なんでしょ。
These two characters really are something together.
ああ、くせ。ミラクルパウダーのカレー粉にも限界はあったか。ちくしょう。
Little by little, we began to get Yuji eating again. Sometimes I did spoil him a bit, and sometimes Asako forcibly shoved the food into his mouth. At first, the boy was moaning miserably with every bite, but eventually he was managing to consume fairly normal meals again. It wasn't too long before he started eating on his own, even without Asako prying his mouth open. That said, he was always completely expressionless at the dinner table. He pushed the food into his mouth silently, with a mechanical steadiness. It seemed like he was eating out of a sense of obligation, or because we'd told him to do so. I never saw the slightest sign he was actually enjoying his meal.
なあユージ
Alright.
それは飯を食う時の顔じゃないなまだ味がわからないのか
Well, that's where we're gonna end it, at a time, or at the limit, I guess. We are still in the Cocoon of Caprice 5, 26% done still, whatever. But that'll be it for this one, guys, so I gotta do a little bit of censorship, but nothing too crazy, which is good on my part. But I have a bad feeling that something weird is gonna come up. We'll leave it at that. But thank you very much for watching, boys and girls. If you enjoy, please leave a like, subscribe, all that sweet jazz. We'll return to the Labyrinth of Grisaia. I almost said the Fruit of Grisaia. We will return to the Labyrinth of Grisaia and see what happens to Yuji after living with Asako for a little bit, I guess. So, look forward to that. I look forward to seeing you guys next time here with the Labyrinth of Grisaia. Take it easy, guys.